And now, aviation weather around Alaska. Greetings, I'm National Weather Service Meteorologist Peter Chan with your aviation weather outlook for Tuesday and Wednesday. To start Tuesday morning, IFR conditions along areas of the northern eastern Gulf Coast associated with a trough that'll be rotating with some moisture associated with that, lower ceilings, showers, areas of light rain. Back up toward the eastern interior around the Yukon Flats, 40-mile gold country, there could be an isolated thunder shower there with redevelopment likely as we go into Tuesday afternoon and evening. IFR hangs just off of the Arctic coast as well as off of the southwestern coast. We do have a frontal system that is working its way across the Bering Sea, and ahead of it we expect some lower ceilings and some areas of light rain or rain showers pushing into the southwestern coast. On Tuesday afternoon, we're looking for scattered showers and thunderstorms across areas of the east central interior with those cumulus buildups in place. Areas across the Gulf, still a band of IFR conditions in through the central Gulf, and then back toward the west, widespread IFR from the Bering Strait to off of the southwest coast, much of the Bering Sea and Aleutian chain. On Wednesday morning, that front in the process of weakening, though, will be pushing into the southwestern coast with lower ceilings and some areas of rain or rain showers. Widespread MVFR conditions from south of the Alaska Range, Copper River Basin down in through the Gulf and Panhandle, with lingering scattered showers, isolated storms Wednesday morning with potential redevelopment Wednesday afternoon in the same areas around the Yukon Flats, Alcan border, and even into areas of the Tanana Valley, north side of the Alaska Range. Otherwise, MVFR conditions expected across much of the Gulf, Cook Inlet here for Wednesday afternoon. And as we go along the Arctic coast, IFR conditions there, as well as out along the southwestern coast, the YK deltas, west and southwestward back across much of the middle lower Bering Sea and the central and western Aleutians. Pass conditions on Tuesday, Anaktuvuk Pass in the eastern half of the Brooks Range. We expect VFR conditions. Those cumulus buildups will be possible in the afternoon and evening with an isolated thunderstorm possible in vicinity. Same thing at Adigan Pass, some cumulus buildups afternoon, evening, with perhaps scattered shower or isolated storm in vicinity of Adigan Pass with VFR conditions dominant. Lake Clark and Merrill, west arm of the Alaska Range, should start out VFR Tuesday morning, giving way to MVFR conditions. We expect some cumulus clouds to develop there. And for Rainy Pass, same thing, VFR becoming MVFR in the afternoon. Windy Pass, generally MVFR conditions are expected throughout the day Tuesday, with perhaps an isolated thunderstorm developing in vicinity with some of those cumulus buildups. And Isabel Pass, much the same. MVFR conditions Tuesday with perhaps an isolated thunderstorm developing in vicinity. Same thing at Metasta Pass. VFR conditions much of the day, but there could be an isolated storm develop, especially from Metasta Pass northward as you fly up toward the Alcan border and 40-mile gold country. Tanita Pass, generally VFR conditions are expected to hold on Tuesday, and as we go a little further south, Portage Pass, it's a split. The eastern half of the pass into Prince William Sound, MVFR conditions, but the western half of the pass, we're looking at VFR. And in the far northern corner of the Panhandle, at Chilkoot and White Passes, MVFR conditions early in the day giving way to VFR. And looking at freezing levels aloft on Tuesday morning, we find the lowest freezing levels associated with low pressure out over the Gulf, just south of there, a cooler pool of air aloft where freezing levels are at 6,000 feet, but they rise upward to above 10,000 feet across the northeast and east central interior. Areas of the Yukon Flats will see temperatures warming into the low mid-80s. This is going to help create instability, cumulus buildups, and there will be some scattered showers and thunderstorms develop Tuesday afternoon and evening within this area. And then back behind me, there's a push of warmer air coming in across the lower Bering Sea from out of the North Pacific. The front, working its way eastward, will have some cloudiness and a band of light rain or some rain showers trying to push into the southwestern coast YK deltas as we go into late Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. As far as the greatest threat for icing will be associated with along and ahead of that front on Tuesday, generally above 14,000 feet. Any lingering areas of rain or rain showers with that low in the Gulf on Tuesday, there is a trough that's just going to kind of rotate back up toward the panhandle, creating some scattered showers. And then an area of rain or showers will pull back retrograde westward on Wednesday back toward the Kenai Peninsula and Cook Inlet. So again, the potential for some isolated icing above 10,000 feet. Upper level jet stream winds 30,000 feet. We have a low circulation here over the lower Gulf, and southwest winds aloft 90 to as high as 100 knots off of Haida Gwaii down toward the North Pacific. Backside of the low, we have northerly winds 80 knots across the lower portion of the Alaska Peninsula. For Tuesday at 700 millibars, roughly 9,000 feet, you can see that low circulation there over the lower Gulf. Winds along the periphery of that low circulation, 30 to 40 knot winds embedded mainly out over the Gulf. But as we go westward, we also see some winds coming in out of the northeast across the Alaska Peninsula. Eastern Aleutians 35 to near 40 knots, and then a broad belt of winds anywhere from 40 to 55 knots pushing in through the western half of the Bering Sea and the western Aleutians. And at 3,000 feet, strongest winds are here across the western Aleutians, upwards of 45 to 55 knots out of the west-southwest. Still have that low circulation occurring out over the Gulf on Tuesday. And we're still seeing some bands of winds that could be upwards of 30 to 35 knots. This will translate to the potential for some moderate turbulence on Tuesday in areas, especially the outer coastal areas of the Panhandle, surface to 6,000 feet. And then back here on the backside of low with the northerly flow, we're anticipating some moderate turbulence across the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, south side of Kodiak Island, surface to 4,000 feet. Pockets of turbulence perhaps around St. Lawrence Island, surface to 3,000 feet, and then the best chance of widespread turbulence here through the central and western Aleutians, surface to 3,000 feet, and I wouldn't even rule out perhaps some isolated severe turbulence way out to the far western end of the western Aleutians around Shemya. So that wraps up your aviation forecast. If you are able to get off the ground, have a safe flight.